Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. In this week's news, snow removal is discussed in the village and M24 reports and awards given at community breakfast.
Stay tuned. Learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. Now that ice and snow have finally landed in our area, Village of Oxford residents are reminded of the revised snow removal ordinance. The revised ordinance requires landowners or occupants in the village to remove snow or ice from sidewalks adjacent to their properties by 7 p.m. the following day after accumulation stops, regardless of whether it happens during the day or at night. The previous ordinance required snow and ice removal within 12 hours after accumulation during daylight hours. If it stopped during the night, it had to be removed by 7 p.m. the following day. Each property is eligible to receive one warning per snow season, which is defined as the period between October 1st and March 31st. Civil fines for those who violate will cost them $25 for the first offense, $50 for the second, and $75 for additional offenses in any snow season. This is the first winter the new ordinance has been implemented.
As January comes to a close, Oxford residents are getting much closer to the official spring start of the Restore M24 road construction project. While the town has already seen its fair share of orange barrels, there's more to come, and the Oxford Chamber of Commerce is inviting residents to hear from the people helping to ease the burden of the construction at the 2020 State of the Community Breakfast and Leadership Awards on February 20th. Appropriate date, hopefully to clarify some of the issues posted on residents' social media pages. Those interested in getting the accurate information can purchase breakfast tickets from the Oxford Chamber. Guests will enjoy a beautiful buffet breakfast put on by the chef at Independence Village while listening to local officials give a scope of beginning to end construction with visuals of what the town will look like when completed. According to Amy Deshotel, Executive Director of the Oxford Chamber of Commerce, register for the 2020 State of the Community Breakfast and Leadership Award by calling the Chamber office at 248-628-0410 or visit oxfordchamber.net.
Most of the Oxford School Board officials left the January 7th Board of Education meeting with the same titles they had walking in. However, there were a few changes made during the meeting taking place at the Lakeville Elementary. Dan D'Alessandro, former Vice President of the school board, will now hold the title of trustee along with current trustees Mary Hanser and Eric Foster. Former trustee Chad Griffith was elected as the new vice president. Tom Donnelly will continue to hold the title of school board president until his current term expires at the end of the year. Treasurer Corey Bailey and Secretary Heather Schaefer both kept their positions until their terms expire. As for board committees, Hanser joined Schaefer and Bailey on the policy committee. In previous years, only 2 school board officials served on this committee. However, the number has been bumped up to 3. The next Board of Education meeting is February 11th at the Oxford Virtual Academy. The meeting will begin at 6:30 p.m. Don't be late.
Absentee voter ballots for March 10th, 2020 election are expected to be mailed out by Friday, January 31st. Just so there's no confusion, absentee voters in Oxford Township precincts 1 through 4 and 6 through 7 will receive their ballots in a new blue and white envelope. After voting, they will return their ballots to the township in the new green and white envelopes enclosed in each ballot. These will be the envelopes used in future elections. Because the March 10 election is a closed primary, voters must declare ahead of time which party, Republican or Democrat, Democrat they wish to participate in, so they will receive the appropriate ballot. Voters can only vote for Republican or Democrat candidates in the closed primary. Voters who do not wish to participate in either party's presidential primary can request a ballot containing only the Detroit Institute of Art millage proposal.
Oxford Orion Fish is asking the community to participate in the first major food drive of 2020. Orion Neighborhood Television 10th annual $5 or $5 food drive. Drop off your 5 cans of food or $5 to the On TV studio at Orion Community Center from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on February 8th. For more information, go to the Fish website at oxfordorionfish.org.
A bit of good news to share. Oxford Township learned that the Almont-based four-county community foundation has awarded them a $5,000 grant to purchase items for the new senior center located in Seymour Lake Township Park. To learn more about the four-county community foundation and all the good work they do, please visit www.4ccf.org.
Well,
Good for them.
Yes.
So we applied for that, a grant from there, and did not get it, which is a little disappointing.
Right.
But I just so happened, the day that we learned that we did not get the grant, I happened to go to a grant writing class, and it was given by Four County Community Foundation. And I learned a lot from them. That was my first attempt at a grant. And while I was only missing 2 things from what I understand, I learned that we can embellish a little bit more about who we are and really explain to them why we're here in this community and that we're recording the history and send pictures, etc. And so we have another opportunity to apply for a grant in April. And the grant that we're applying for is for equipment. Due to the fact that our franchise fees are looking at being cut by the cable companies, that would be Spectrum and AT&T, because of a ruling that was made by the FCC, we're looking at our revenue being severely decreased, and our equipment is old. All the cameras that we have that are field cameras are, what, about 7 years old now?
7 to 10 years old.
Right,
Most of them.
and they wear out. Pieces break off of them. And so that's
Parts.
why we were asking for that grant. And fingers crossed, I learned a lot at that seminar, and hopefully we'll be able to get it at that time. It would sure help if we'd get our full franchise fees from our communities so that we can continue to maintain our equipment, all of our equipment. So the last time we got approval to purchase equipment was at least 6 years ago. So all of our equipment, the newest of our equipment, is 6 years old. And we are recording the history of all 4 communities. So I think we're a pretty valuable service.
Yes, I think so, and I get responses no matter where I go out in the community. Occasionally people come up to me and talk to me about various programs that are running. The sports program is pretty extensive. We cover virtually every sport, in Orion.
Winter and summer.
Winter and
we
summer.
even hit the little leagues now.
Yes.
And the senior leagues. We're covering as much as we can.
And being located in the parks here,
that helps.
I mean, it does help a lot. A lot of activities going on here, which we normally cover as well. So, and I believe that Terry, working with the grant program, I think she will be successful in getting this.
I'll keep
I
trying.
have the faith in her, so you keep the faith too, folks.
Oh, thanks. I'll keep trying. That's it for Oxford News this week. If you would like to learn more about these stories and others, you can pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader, or better yet, catch us on our website at occtv.org, on YouTube, and of course our regular cable Spectrum channel 191 or AT&T channel 99.
Coming up soon, OCTV's very own Cody Wright with school sports and school news with River Tuck. And you won't want to miss Auto Talk and Science in the News with Dave Kenny.
I'm Terry Stiles. Thanks for watching Oxford News this week, where we bring your news closer to home.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
Hello Oxford parents and students, and welcome to your school news here on OCTV. I'm your host, River Tuck. On today's episode, we're talking about how Oxford schools are wrapping up the month of January, as well as all of the big dates you should add to your calendar for February. Let's not waste any time and get straight into last week's recap. Oxford schools have been having an active month of January, to say the least. We talked about last week and highlighted on the Schooling Around program our teachers going the extra mile to inspire students. Now our Oxford scholars of all ages are showing the staff and community why they do it. Over at the Lakeville Elementary, their Green Team met last Wednesday. Green Team is an outstanding club that has been highlighted on Schooling Around and School News many times before. They are inspiring the next generation of students to be environmentally conscious and are making leaps and bounds in the directions of converting all of Oxford schools to be as green as possible. Big shout out to the Green Team at Lakeville and all that they're doing. We've had some harsh weather across the state, and here in Oxford has been no exception. The school district has taken the necessary steps to keep our students safe all winter, including closing schools last Friday due to icy road conditions. Please keep your eyes to the Oxford Schools Facebook or website to get those notifications on school closings immediately as the weather continues to be a concern. Okay, now that we've covered what has been happening, let's talk about what will be happening this week. Tuesday the 28th, the Oxford High School Mr. Oxford competition will begin at 6 o'clock in the Performing Arts Center and continue until 9. A lot of hard work goes into that show, and it is a great time for all things school spirit here in Oxford, so I hope to see many of you there. Wednesday the 29th, Leonard's Troubadours meet 10 to 11 a.m. Also, the Lakeville Creative Cats meet 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. On Thursday the 30th, Lakeville's leadership team meets from 3:45 to 4:30 p.m. Also that night, the OHS Dance Conservatory performance begins at 7 p.m. and runs until 9. Also a great show that you should definitely check out. On Friday the 31st, Daniel, Oxford, and Lakeville have half days, and OMS will be decked out in rivalry for their Super Bowl Team Spirit Day. That will be the last of the calendar for January, but that means I now have to prep you all for the start of February, as well as highlighting some key dates throughout the month. To start off the first week of February, the elementary schools convene for the Elementary Orchestra Concert, which is Tuesday the 4th, starting at 7, running until 8. That concert will be at the Performing Arts Center. I may be sounding like a broken record, but as with all of our Oxford performances, an immense amount of work went into this concert, both from our students and staff, so please continue to go out and support this hard work. Lastly, OHS is once again hosting the ACT, this time on Saturday the 8th. You can register at actstudent.org. Good luck to any of our students braving the test, and remember to study hard and get lots of rest the night before. There's much to plan for in February. February 10th, the OHS 8th grade parent night and building tours will take place. This is a great way for parents and students to get acclimated with the help of the high school staff. On the following day, the 11th, Clear Lake and Oxford Elementary have choir performances, as well as a Board of Education meeting that night. The Lakeville Green Team meets Wednesday the 12th, so don't miss that meeting if you are new to the program. On the 14th, Lakeville will have their Kids Heart Challenge, which takes place all day. After all the excitement, these schools will take a break with a long weekend from having the 17th off district-wide. Then things will pick back up Wednesday the 19th with a OHS-OMS pre-festival orchestra concert from 7 to 9 at the PAC. The Spirit will continue on Friday the 21st with Leonard's 4th and 5th grade dance from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Finally, that week will be topped off with a OHS Masterclass performance at the PAC from 6 to 7:30. A great date for our Leonard crowd to keep on the calendar is the 28th of February when Leonard hosts their Daddy-Daughter Dance. That will be all for this edition of School News here on OCTV. Stay tuned to OCTV for more Oxford news, including Schooling Around, the half-hour program where I take a deeper look into Oxford schools and what our scholars do with their time in and out of school. In the latest episodes, I have been bringing first-hand perspectives to the viewers of all the great charities in and around Oxford that students and families can get involved together and make a difference outside of their schools and build family traditions. Lots of great charities have been covered so far, so don't miss that episode out now. That is all I have to plug for this episode, so please do stay tuned for the rest of the news here on OCTV, and thank you for tuning in. As always, I'm River Tuck for your school news and schooling around here on OCTV. Until next time, Oxford.
If you're interested in sponsoring a show for OCTV, please give us a call at 248-628-9658 and we'll air a promotional video for your local business.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, a more efficient way of making an espresso could reduce the amount of coffee wasted per cup, potentially saving billions of dollars every year. Coffee baristas must decide how finely to grind their beans and then set their machines in a way to exploit the flavors of the coffee compounds. Jamie Foster at the University of Portsmouth in the UK and his colleagues decided to investigate the best way to maximize yield from the smallest possible amount of coffee. They created a mathematical model of a basket of an espresso machine, the cylindrical container that contains the ground coffee. We had to capture how the water is flowing through this bed of packed grounds and how various coffee chemicals move around and dissolve, says Foster. The mathematicians' initial calculations were based on a single coffee particle in this cylindrical contraption. Then they scaled this calculation up for an entire basket's worth of coffee in order to get an average description of the level of the whole basket. Calculating for every coffee particle without this method would have required an impossible amount of computing, says Foster. Baristas normally say that the finer the coffee grinds, the more efficient the resulting brew is due to increased surface area of the coffee beans. But Foster and his colleagues found that their mathematical model showed that using slightly coarser ground coffee resulted in better mixing. This was because coarser coffee ensured no part of the basket became clogged, and this ultimately resulted in a higher extraction of coffee compounds for the same amount of beans used. A small coffee shop that is, in Oregon, owned by friends of one of the research team, tried this method between September of 2018 and September of 2019. The shop found it saved 13 cents per drink, resulting in $3,620 saved that year, and it's still using it today. If everyone did this, it would save the industry billions of dollars, says Foster. A spokesman for the British Coffee Association said the find could have a real-world impact. A mathematical model that increases the efficiency of espresso extraction from ground coffee beans is hugely insightful for coffee businesses and coffee shop retailers, they told New Scientist. Wow. In our next story, mice have tens of thousands of chemical sensing nose cells that can cause an allergic reaction. Researchers say this discovery could help us understand how the immune system reacts to inhaled allergens and why some people with allergies lose their sense of smell. We know that in humans and mice, breathing in allergens such as house dust mite droppings or mold can cause inflammation in the nose. This triggers a further allergic response driven by immune cells, but we don't fully understand the process. To try to learn more, a team at Harvard University isolated cells from the noses of mice and sorted them into different types according to their shape, size, and the specific proteins they displayed on their surface. By doing this, they identified chemical sensing cells that react to allergens in the air soon after they are inhaled. These cells start releasing molecules that cause inflammation in the nose even before immune cells are delivered to the nose in the bloodstream. The chemical sensing cells in the nose release boatloads of inflammatory molecules, says Laura Bankova, who had led the work. These are the same molecules that drive allergic conditions like asthma and are usually only produced by the immune cells. Cells similar to those in the nose have been found in the lower airway and the gut in mice and humans, but they were thought to be extremely rare. Bankova says she was surprised to discover there are 20,000 to 30,000 of these nose cells in mice. There, an equivalent chemical sensing cells in the human nose. There is an equivalent chemical sensing cell in the human nose, says Bankova, but we don't know if they have a similar function. The cells are also surprising because they are mostly found in the part of the nose involved in smell, says Bankova, which hadn't previously been thought to play a role in allergic reactions. This might explain why some people with chronic allergies lose their sense of smell, says Bankova. It might be because there is so much inflammation in that area we hadn't previously recognized, she said. As well as detecting allergens, these cells may also be able to sense invading microbes such as the common cold virus, says Bankova. A better understanding of these cells may lead to new treatments for allergies, says Emmanuel Sido at the University of Oxford. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
What's going on, Wildcat fans? Cody right back here for this week's sports report. We got some basketball and hockey to dive in, plus some quick football news. Anyhow, let's dive in, starting with the boys basketball team. Last week we did talk about the tough but yet incredible game we had against Southfield A&T. The tough part being we ended up losing in overtime when Southfield hit a buzzer beater 3. Well, lucky for us, that 3 didn't have to go unanswered. Our next game on the schedule was against Southfield. However, this time it was in their gym. It was a close game all the way through. Southfield is a very talented group of young men, and they can shoot the ball at a very high percentage. However, let's not forget, so can we. The night ended with us getting the final word. Senior Trey Townsend, who had about 30 points and 12 rebounds the night before, hit a buzzer beater game-winning shot, taking down Southfield in their own gym. Final score of the night was 72-71. I think this set of games might have created another great rivalry between the two schools in basketball, which is always great for the fans. On the flip side, the girls saw a tight one here at home against Notre Dame Prep, another very back and forth tempos matchup. Morris led the girls in points on the night, Methner and Tyrell playing great as well. However, the game winner went to Dinges, who put in a 2-pointer at the buzzer to tie the game, but was also fouled and sent to the line shooting 1. The pressure was on. If she made it, the Cats took the win. If she missed, we went into OT. Dinges did take the pressure very well and hit the shot. And the Ian Smith Gymnasium went wild. It was another fun night for the Oxford basketball program. I'll tell you, this season so far has been a blast for the fans, and I'm sure for the players as well. And lastly, the Oxford and Avondale boys varsity hockey team took on Farmington on the road at the Farmington Hills Ice Arena. The boys, coming off a tough loss the week before, still seem to struggle. Farmington is a good team. Keep that in mind. The final score of the night was 7-3. And on another note, the boys varsity football team has been without a coach since longtime coach Bud Riley retired this offseason, and now the search has ended, and I'd have to say we landed someone pretty cool. Oxford alumni and NFL athlete Zach Line has retired from the show after playing for 7 years, playing for the Minnesota Vikings and the New Orleans Saints. And has now accepted the position as head coach. I think it's safe to say Coach Line knows and loves this game very much, and the opportunity to have him as a coach in a high school could be great for our future players coming through the program. So come next football season, it's going to be very exciting to see this team in action. Best of luck to Coach Line and the boys. Anyhow, that's all for this week's report. For any more info on these events and more, go to oxfordathletics.org. There's plenty of game breakdowns, statistics, and more all right there for you to check out. Once again, that is oxfordathletics.org. While you're at it, might as well check us out at OCCTV.org. All of our coverage of these events and more can be found on our YouTube page, which you can access through the website. Once again, that is OCCTV.org. And that's all for this week's report. I want to thank you all for watching and remind you all to tune in next time. But until then, I'm Cody Wright. Go Wildcats.
Do you love local sports? Whether it's Oxford High School or Parks and Rec, you can buy copies of each game. To purchase your copy, call us at 248-628-9658 or give us an email at manager@occtv.org or talk to us at the next game. Hopefully we'll see you there.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, Genesis marked a new milestone with the global unveiling of its first crossover, the GV80, a crucial model that could reel in customers interested in the upstart Korean brand's value and quality proposition, but turned off by its all-sedan lineup. At an event in Seoul, Genesis provided the first official pictures in full color and announced the base engine for the home market, a 6-cylinder diesel that won't be headed to the U.S. when the crossover goes on sale by summer. The GV80, with an optional third row, will be available with 2 turbocharged gasoline engines in the U.S., Genesis said. The G70 sedan is offered with a base turbo 4-cylinder or optional turbo 6-cylinder engine, and those are likely choices for the GV80, providing better fuel economy in the smaller motor and performance in the bigger one. Some standout attributes of the new crossover, according to Genesis, include an electronically controlled suspension with road preview from a front-mounted camera, active road noise cancellation, available 22-inch wheels, a 14.5-inch infotainment screen, handwriting recognition on the infotainment controller, and a driver's seat with 7 air cells to reduce fatigue. Among the safety equipment is a second-generation highway driving assist system that includes lane change via the turn signal and a driver attention alert warning that detects unusual driving characteristics and provides warning messages, Genesis said in a press release on January 14th. Prices were not announced, but the GV80 goes on sale in Korea late this month. And over at Toyota on the recall front, Toyota Motor Company North America will recall 696,000 Toyota and Lexus vehicles from the 2018 to 2019 model years in the United States, equipped with a fuel pump that might stop working and could lead to a potential stall, the automaker said. The recall involves non-hybrid powertrains from the following models, a spokesman for the automaker said: the 2018 to 2019 Lexus LS500, GS350, ES350, and IS300 sedans, LC500, RC350, and RC300 coupes, LX570 and GX460 and RX350 crossovers, as well as 2019 NX300s, RX350L crossovers, and GS300 sedans. Also being recalled are 2018 to 2019 Toyota 4Runner, Sequoia, and Land Cruiser SUVs, Highlander crossovers, Sienna minivans, Tacoma and Tundra pickups, and Camrys from those model years. Toyota 2019 Avalon and Corollas are also under recall. The automaker says that if the fuel pump does not stops operating, that is, warning lights and messages may be displayed on the instrument panel and the engine may run rough. This can result in a vehicle stall and the vehicle may be unable to be restarted. If a vehicle stall occurs while driving at higher speeds, this could increase the risk of a crash. Toyota says it's developing a potential remedy and that it will notify consumers by mail in mid-March if their vehicle is affected by the recall. The automaker said consumers who have questions can contact Toyota Consumer Experience Center at 1-800-331-4331 or the Lexus Guest Experience Center at 1-800-255-3987. And over at Nissan, Nissan revealed a new twin-motor, all-electric, all-wheel drive system at the CES Expo in Las Vegas. The technology is expected to debut in Nissan's first electric crossover, which could arrive in the U.S. in 2021. The system, dubbed E-Force, delivers high torque, precision handling, and stability, Nissan said. It achieves this by optimizing power delivery to each of the 4 wheels. Power flow to the front and rear motors can be independently controlled, while torque to the left and right wheels can be further modulated through coordinated braking. The E-Force technology offers precise handling, cornering performance, and traction on slippery surfaces. Takayo Asami, Nissan's Senior Vice President of Research and Advanced Engineering, said in a statement. Beyond spirited acceleration and sure grip handling on slippery surfaces such as snow and wet pavement, dual motor control also makes for smoother deceleration. Regenerated braking from both front and rear motors makes stop-and-go city traffic less jarring to passengers. Similarly, the granular motor control delivers a smoother ride on bumpy roads. The two-motor technology is based on lessons learned during the development of the Nissan's GTR's Atisa ETS torque split system and Nissan's Patrol's intelligent 4x4 system, the automaker said. The E-Force can be applied to a range of vehicle types, including SUVs, sedans, and hatchbacks. The first vehicle to feature the system will be the production version of the Nissan Ariya concept. The 5-seat electric crossover will have a 300-mile battery range and go from 0 to 60 in less than 5 seconds, according to U.S. dealers briefed on the product last summer. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways.
Welcome to Oxford Community Television. We are proud that our 4 communities continue to choose local programming, local news, sports, community issues, familiar faces, celebrations, and commitment to each other. Welcome to Oxford Community Television.